So good evening, everybody. Um, I wanted to talk tonight a little bit before we get to meditate um, about something that has always been a theme for me, but it's a theme especially in this time again. It comes up in different times in my life, and it seems to me it's a theme that I think would do us well to think about, many of us, and that's the question of meaning. Or lately, I read a wonderful paper by one of my teachers, Daniel Brown, who teaches at Harvard Medical School and is also a meditation teacher. And he talks about um, articulating or finding for oneself a greater guiding purpose of life. And he talks here in this paper of the benefits of living out of that. So if we find a kind of sense of meaning, a sense of purpose, that actually research shows now gives us a great sense of all kinds of good things, which I will tell you about. For me, the question of meaning came up, gosh, I would say as a 13 to 15-year-old. I grew up in Germany, and that's when we heard about the Holocaust and had actually a lot of education about that. And for me, it was just being a 13, 15-year-old, a really kind of earth-shattering kind of topic. How can we humans do such things, and it seemed that so I became really attracted to existentialism, which really asked the question, well, our old maybe gods or way of looking at things are not working anymore. And so we have to look fresh. We have to find new ways of looking for meaning. And so maybe before, at least in Europe, in terms of religion, there was a sense of, well, if we follow the rules of our church or synagogue or whatever it is, then we go, at least Christians, to heaven or hell or somewhere. And all of that seemed to be toppled over through, at least in Europe, with a Second World War. And people just said, well, we have to look at this with a fresh sense. We have to find meaning differently, maybe even apart from these old ways of looking, whether belief in God or in a sacred or not. We can't just find meaning for that reason. We have to create meaning for ourselves. And I was just, so I became really interested in Camus. And actually, my daughter is reading right now a book I loved when I was a teenager, The Plague, which is about some of you know it? By Albert Camus. It's about a North African town in the beginning of the 20th century, 1910 or so, where the plague breaks out and it gets sealed off, and it's about Dr. Rieu, who's the doctor there, and he can leave, but he's not leaving, he stays. And he is basically, his meaning is to be as good a person as he can be in a kind of uncontrollable situation. And many thought that Camus thought this as kind of a metaphor, so there may not be a pre-existing order or a controllable world or situation, but nevertheless, we have to find a sense of goodness and meaning out of this. And I was always fascinated by Nietzsche, actually, who said, who has a why can bear any how. Who has a why can bear any how. And it is Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camps, who said the last of human freedoms is our ability to choose our response. So we may not be able to choose what comes towards us, but we can choose how we respond. And so the question is, how is that important in the time of the coronavirus, where this virus goes around and creates havoc and disease and death in all countries of the world. And how can we find our way through this and become neither fatalistic or nihilistic or just depressed and maybe given up or paralyzed or just hunkered down and distracted? How can we find a way through this in which we can kind of grow as people and find a strength as people? And in a way, what this virus shows us, I think very much kind of like the climate crisis behind it, is that it brings up the question of our mortality and of meaning and purpose, and the question, what is important in life besides our material comfort? Material comfort is important, not to kid ourselves, but what besides it? And here Dan Brown brings up quite old ideas, that have been brought up by Nietzsche and by Camus and Sartre and countless others. And but he put quite a bit of research into it, so it's not just a kind of a thought, a philosophical idea, but it's actually something that he tested with really hard research at Harvard University. And he says that people have a wider vision of their goals, a greater perspective, then there are greater psychological and social effects that come out of one's actions. So if we have a perspective that's greater than just our comfort, let's say, or our security, even though that's very important, but if we have something that's greater than that, then that actually has very good effects on us. And I might just want to name a few of them. It's like nowadays we are very outcome focused. We want to see what is it good for. And so he found out here in this study that having a goal, a purpose that's greater than just our own comfort, is a strong predictor for well-being. And there are many psychological scales nowadays with which we can test that. And on top, there is a greater physical health and wellness. So that's interesting. And it shows that people get sick less, always compared to groups that are very equally matched. And also people can pull through disease, or let's say cancer, or whatever diagnosis people might have, easier if they have the sense of meaning and greater purpose. So they are definitely, here it says, healthier, more illness resistant, and live longer. And again, this is always matched to comparable groups. People who have a greater sense of purpose have more resilience and face difficulties and stress better. And I think that is something that's really important right now for us, because I think, to speak with C.G. Jung, there is a sense of heightened anxiety in the air, so to speak. It's not just in the concrete situation. It's something in the New York Times today. My husband, he always sends me articles from everywhere. People have weirder dreams. Actually, I was thinking of resurrecting my dream group again, and maybe having a on Zoom dream group, because we had for 10 years a wonderful dream group. And so people have much more confused and pained and distressed dreams. And so the common level of stress is just higher, regardless of what your individual situation is like. And also, when people have the sense of greater purpose, doing something beyond themselves, then they have just a greater sense of meaningfulness of life in general. And that's a very good feeling. It's a kind of a wealth, a kind of a personal fulfillment, richness that is regardless there. Actually, it's interesting. He has here some interesting ones, like people with a greater purpose, sense of purpose and meaning, has a greater personality integration. So even when people come, let's say, from difficult upbringings and maybe carried some wounds, if they live their life with greater meaning of purpose, it seems their lives are coming better together. And I think there are many examples of that. Actually, I think it was Sharon Salzberg who said that there hasn't been an American meditation teacher that hasn't had a really messed up childhood, which I always thought is interesting. And that's how we often come to meditate. Not that it's necessarily necessary, but if we were not so lucky and we did have difficult upbringings, hard circumstances, loss, betrayal, whatever we might have had, having this greater purpose helps to, let's say, grow out of it better, or integrate better, or grow into ourselves better. I was just thinking of James Hillman, the great Jungian psychologist, who says we are not just growing up, we are growing down into ourselves. So I think you could also see it like that. We are growing in a more meaningful way into ourselves. And so it seems, if we are, many people are quite plagued by ruminations and circular thinking, which is often involved with a painful sense of self-preoccupation, and can be really quite a bit of suffering. And so I guess having this greater sense of purpose and meaning beyond one's own self-interest actually can really help not getting so caught up in that. And people, even when they are maybe shy or socially not so connected, they can, it's easier for them to find community. It's like quite often I say to especially my younger clients, maybe students from UCSB or City College or wherever they are, and they go, forever on dating apps, which can be really good. I'm by no ways against it. But then I say, well, why not also join a group that does something good? Because the likelihood is you might meet nice people and good people. And he also finds that having this greater purpose leads to a greater vital engagement in everyday life. and satisfactions in various other domains of life. So if you have this kind of meaning of purpose, even if you might have a less inspiring job you go to, you can actually put up with it better, because it's like maybe like a figure ground thing. It's the ground becomes bigger around the figure, and then the figure isn't quite so dominant. And um, uh, so here he brings up a few steps how we can do this. He recommends reflecting on one's life tasks. Maybe think about in your life, what parts of your life have given you greatest meaning at whatever time in your life. Sometimes we come back to something we did 30 years ago and remember that. And also, he says, think about what really filled you with passion, with passionate engagement when you look back in your life, and uh, and kind of think about that. And then he mentions an uncompromising vision, and I can kind of uh, understand that very well. I think I myself sometimes have these uncompromising visions, like when we started the solidarity and compassion evenings in December 16. I just felt, no, I have to do this. I owe this to my grandfather, who fought the Nazis and didn't end so well. So I felt I have to do this. So in a way, an uncompromising vision, to not ask myself every month if it's fun. It's just, no, I'm doing this. Actually, it works well, and we can stomach the months that are not so good and carry on. And then to think about what is a greater social good. Look around. What is really needed. um, what what would make the world a better place. What would speak to the concerns and welfare of others. um, and what of our talents could be of greatest purpose. And so maybe there are quite a few more, and if you like, I sent you the article, but I don't want to bore you with it. But I just think maybe to just really take this week, if you like, a little time and think about it, and not in a forced way, and not in a guilty way, and not in an obligated way, but almost like in a playful way and in a generous way. And uh, and to just know, that's actually one of the really fun pieces of research that came out in the last few years in psychology research. And I think, I'm a clinical psychologist by training, that people who give are actually better off than people who mainly take, which kind of seems counterintuitive. At least when I grew up, thought, oh, this person is so lucky, they are given this and this and this. And it's I find it a very interesting research that the people who are most well and happy in themselves are actually those that give a lot, and not in a compulsive way, and not in a self-destructive way. Like the Dalai Lama says, we need wise compassion, not idiot compassion, which is, I love that word, idiot compassion. But so we need to be smart about it. And I think that's also why I always like to teach a mindfulness meditation and a compassion meditation together, because mindfulness meditation is a wisdom practice, and compassion meditation is a heart practice. And according to an old wise proverb, the bird needs both wings to fly, wisdom and compassion. And so, with that said, I hope I gave you some good things to uh, ponder and to reflect upon. And if you, after the meditations, want to hang out and ask some questions, I'm certainly here. And also, if you have questions about the meditation, I'm here as well. So make yourself comfortable. Let yourself settle into the sensations in your body. Notice the touch between your body and the chair, the cushion, the ground. And allow your whole body to be filled with presence. Notice the sensation of awareness within and around you. To your right and your left, to the front and the back. Below you and above you, and in your heart. Allow yourself to experience yourself as part of this field within and around you. And allow your eyes to soften, forehead open up. Your jaw to relax. Notice your shoulders to let go with the exhale. Heart brushing through the area of your chest. Noticing the back of your body. Your belly softening. Feeling the solidity of your seat, holding up your torso. Arms, legs, your whole body being filled with presence. And notice breath arising with the inhale, letting go with the exhale. Feeling the sensation and movement of your in-breath and the sensation and movement of your out-breath. Feeling your whole body and breath brushing in ever so gently. Every moment of the in-breath every moment of the out-breath. Being aware of your posture, the felt sense, and breath brushing in ever so gently. And allow your mind to stay moment by moment, instant by instant, with the in-breath, with the out-breath, felt sense of posture, breath brushing in again. And delight in breath and awareness, staying together, moving together. Brain calming down. In breath, in breath, in breath. Out breath, out breath, out breath. Felt sense of posture. Breath brushing in again. Feeling every moment of the in-breath, every moment of the out-breath. Posture, allowing your body to be breathed, for breath to breathe you. And when your mind wanders, thoughts, feelings, always gently stir your attention back. In breath, in breath, in breath. Out breath, out breath, out breath. Posture. Being highly aware of the gentle, soft movement of breath. Breath breathing you. Always returning to your touchstone, the sensation and movement of breath. Being keenly aware of every instant of breath and looking even a little closer. And then easing up a bit. Seeing if breath goes automatic. Allowing your body to be breathed. When your mind wanders, look a little bit more closely. Every instant of in-breath, every instant of out-breath, posture, breath breathing you. Be that breath. Breath arising out of space and falling back into it. And one more time, look a little bit more closely. experiencing the movement of breath. As if you look closely at a road through a bank of fog, being very attentive, very present. Notice the movement of getting distracted, thoughts, feelings, and the movement of turning back like a steering wheel. Feeling the natural movement of body and breath. Let's come to our second meditation, the compassion meditation. Compassion for ourselves and our families and our world, because compassion goes in an ever widening spiral. And again, maybe if you want to wiggle your body or stay as you are, take a deep breath and make yourself comfortable. And again, let yourself settle into the sensations in your body. Notice the touch between your body and the chair, the cushion, the ground. And again, let your whole body be filled with presence. Breath arising out of this field of becoming, of awareness, of being within and around you. Arising and falling back into it. Surrendering to your body being breathed. And be aware of the area of your chest where your heart is. And notice breath brushing through ever so gently. Expanding with the inhale, letting go, breathing through with the exhale. Allow your body, your heart to be breathed. And notice what's going on in this area of your heart. Whether there's maybe a sense of tightness or constriction, lightness or heaviness, a bit of ache or numbness. Just be kindly aware of what is going on, what you're experiencing right now. And in your mind's eye, you might hold an image of yourself as you are right now these days, in this time of quarantine, staying home. Or feeling the world around you, being in your own life and that with those close around you. And notice the feeling tone you are experiencing right now. And wish yourself well. And wish yourself well. Be aware of this time right now, maybe brings up old feelings from other times in your life when you felt unsettled or scared or sad. And hold that person you once were in your life, in your heart as well. You might say silently to yourself, may I be safe and protected. May I be free from inner and outer dangers. May I be well taken care of. May I feel engaged and inspired now or one day. May I be compassionate with myself when I feel vulnerable. May I be free. Notice breath brushing through ever so gently. And be aware of yourself in this time. All the confusion, maybe the sense of uncertainty, worry for your health, financial security. Be aware of what moves your heart. Breathe through your heart ever so gently. You might even want to put your right hand there if that is comfortable. And think of your family, your children, parents, people you love, neighbors. Send them your well-wishing, care, and see them as appreciation and support. Notice breath brushing through ever so gently. And then see those others, people you might witness social distancing, people you stay away from right now. But with your heart's intention, help them to feel safe and protected. And in your imagination, support them. Even when you don't know them, wish them to be safe and protected. And notice breath brushing through your heart. And bring to mind people in this pandemic, the most isolated and forgotten. And imagine that you can wish them well. Reach out to them in your mind, wishing them protection, safety, health, wishing them comfort in this difficult time. Notice breath brushing through ever so gently. And bring to mind the entire suffering world. And in this larger awareness, imagine wishing them well. Recognize their difficulty, fear, helplessness, and vulnerability. And see we are one sea, one web of humanity. all interconnected. This interconnected web of life. Notice breath brushing through ever so gently. And now allow yourself to feel connected to everything. Part of this field of awareness, this field of benevolence, this field of the sacred. Feel the vast, timeless, changeless aspect of being and expand it into all directions, limitless, boundless. And put the intention forward to send out love and kindness, compassion to all beings, especially those most forgotten and unnoticed. And this intention, this wish, this longing does not only come from yourself, but from this greater field and your interdependence with it. And one more time, imagine your loved ones, those near and dear ones. And for a moment, inhale their worries and exhale their loving kindness. And hold this whole web of life, this interconnected life. Breathe with it. Breathing in its worry, breathing out your love and kindness. Knowing that all this ravishing comes from yourself and from the vast, limited field of awareness. Notice breath brushing through ever so gently, connecting inhale with exhale and exhale with inhale, connecting us all. And may the benefits of this meditation go out into the world and beyond.